Good morning, Amington Heath Primary School. Today we're going to be converting time between our 12 and our 24-hour clock. So we're converting from analogue time to digital, but we're focusing on our 24-hour clock. Just to recap what we looked at yesterday, when we're thinking about the minutes on our digital clock, we lose our to and past times and we're just counting on in chunks of 5. So if we're starting from our 12, that would be 0. If we'd got the minute hand on the 1, we'd have added 5 minutes. If it was on the 2, 10 minutes, the 3, 15 minutes, and so on all the way around the clock. So if we have a look at the hours on our 24-hour clock, it's treated slightly differently once we get past midday. So at 12 o'clock midday, which is 12 p.m, it would still say 12 in the hours section of our digital clock. But once we got to 1 p.m, things become a little different. Here, it then becomes 13 in the hours section, and we call this 1300 hours when we're talking about it. So it becomes 13 in the hours section when we're on the 1, it becomes 14 when we're on the 2, 15 when we're at 3 p.m, 16 at 4 p.m, 17 at 5 p.m, and so on. You can see the pattern. This is because there's 24 hours in one day. Each half of the day, so the morning and the afternoon into the evening, is split into 12 hours. So we have 12 o'clock midnight. It takes us 12 hours to get to 12 o'clock midday. And then we have another 12 hours, which takes us from midday to midnight. So those 12 hours, rather than repeating from 0 to 12 again, we add that 12 on to the time that's already shown on the clock. So we take that 1 and we add 12 hours that have already gone past. So we do the 1 plus our 12, which is equal to that 13. So that's where that 13 comes from. So to work out the hours on a 24-hour clock, it's really quite straightforward. You have a look at the time on the analog clock. So for instance, if it was 7, you take your 7, you add 12, which will give you 19, and that becomes the hours that show on your 24-hour clock display. So you can see that here we have 21:15. 24-hour clocks have that minute and hour time split by the colon just as we had before, and then rather than having a number from 1 to 12 in that section, we have it continuing beyond the 12 up to 23. At midnight, when it turns to 24, it actually resets then to 00. If we have a look at these clocks, you can see that on our analog clock, the time shows 3 o'clock. If we convert that into 24-hour time, our hours, we've taken our 3, we've added our 12, which is equal to 15, and so therefore we have that 15 in the hours section of our digital display. So have a look at this time. What time can you see on the analog clock? That's right, that's 3:30. If we put that into digital time, we have 3 there in our hours, and we have 30 in our minutes. So that would be on a 12-hour display. If it was a 12-hour display, we'd also need to have our AM or PM after it to let us know whether it was morning or afternoon. If we change that then to a 24-hour clock, what would that be? That's great. That would be 15:30. So we've taken our 3, we've added the 12 to the hours, which gives us that 15. And notice that the minutes don't change. The minutes stay exactly the same. It's the hours that are changing by adding on those 12 hours that have already passed in the morning. Now have a go at this one. Pause the video once I've revealed the time on the analog clock and see if you can work out what that time is. Okay, so this time shows us 1:45 on an analog clock, which is 1:45 on a 12-hour digital clock, which then becomes 13:45 on a 24-hour digital clock. Did you get that? Hope so. Have another look at this one then. Again, pause the video once I've revealed the analogue time. And then come back to me, and what time is it on a 12-hour digital display? That's correct, that's 7:25, which would make it 19:25 if it was a 24-hour display. So we know that in actual fact, if that's becoming 19:25, this has got to be a PM time. It's got to be an evening time, because it would just be 7:25 if it was in the morning. And another one then, the final one. That's 10:04. So that would be 3:50, and again it's got to be an afternoon time for it to convert into 24-hour clock. So that's 3:50 PM, which then becomes 15:50 in that 24-hour clock. Again, taking that 3, adding the 12 onto it to give us the 15, with the minutes remaining the same. And that's it. It's that straightforward. So remember to change those hours from a 12-hour digital or from an analogue display into 24 hours. Once it's in the afternoon, you're just adding 12 to the number that you can see on the clock, leaving those minutes alone, and that converts it to 24-hour clock. Enjoy!